Okay, I'm going to get started because we have basically 1 hour to cover a very intricate and detailed topic. So welcome to our May ECE EDU Regional Joint Venture Community of Practice. We're going to be talking today about apprenticeship and intermediaries and launch network specifically, but also I have some general announcements for you. So welcome, team. And here are our outcomes. We're going to gain resource information, meet the BACCC Launch Network team, become familiar with the role of Launch Network, and for some of you, develop next steps and do some outreach so you can actually figure out who to talk to next with your questions. You will all be receiving this um, slide deck, and we'll be dropping it in the chat throughout the presentation. So feel free to just grab it when you see it. And then later on, I will send both the recording and the PowerPoint out to everyone that attended, but that takes a week or two because it's converted to a YouTube video. So it's best if you want the slide deck, grab it today. We'll be putting it in. So, welcome. As I said, please place your name and your institution or organization in the chat. We're going to go over some announcements. Then I'm going to introduce all the people we have here today to answer your questions. And then you'll have an opportunity to ask questions. So as we move through, we have a number of co-hosts. I'll be looking at the chat for questions. So feel free to um, ask questions when you hear something. We're going to let everyone go through all their slides and their announcements and information. And then we do have time at the end for some specific questions. So that is kind of the agenda. Okay, so welcome and introductions. I'm Kathleen White, and I probably know most of you. I'm the Regional Joint Venture Lead of ECE and EDU sector for BACCC. And John Dunn may or may not hop on. He's currently in Washington, D.C. at an apprenticeship conference, but I have money on the fact that he might pop in. So hopefully he will. And if he does, he's got a couple of quick announcements. So we will let him in when we see him. Okay. I'm introducing Francisco Herrera. Maybe Francisco, you can wave, who's the BACCC Launch Network person with Jennifer Rowland. Wave, Jennifer. They are both with BACCC and Launch Network, and they're going to be available to help answer questions and help you after this COP if you have additional questions. Natalie Weaver from Launch Apprenticeship Network, the main office is here, and Natalie, between her and Justin, they kind of know everything. We're not going to tell Charles that, but they do. So Natalie can answer questions and follow up and has been with Launch Network for a while and so is very well versed in what some of the questions might be. We have Justin Susi, who has been helping us in our region with the Bridge Apprenticeship Network, as well as with some other activities, and he'll be introducing that. And then I just want to do a shout out to Alex Jones, who's with Next Gen Policy, and he and Justin are going to be announcing something shortly. So there are your people that are here today. So place your name and institution in the chat. And I'm going to go through announcements quickly, and then we're going to hand it off to launch. And I think, Jennifer, you're going to go first when I hand it off?
Justin's going to go first.
Justin's going to go first. Okay, perfect. Yep. Okay, so I have a few updates. One is that, as some of you know, we were a Vision 2030 demonstration project, phase one, that ended a few months ago, December 31st, and we have a final report with recommendations and next steps for the Chancellor's Office, which is taking up phase two. And so if you're going to look at, I have here a final Vision 2030 report. I have a link. so you can take a look at what some of the recommendations are moving forward, what some of the accomplishments were. And at the same time, this regional joint venture is winding down in the BACCC. So we also have recommendations to keep it going. I have a great steering committee, advisory committee from the BACC to really come up with some key recommendations about what to do with the sector now that the joint ventures wound down and what some of the current needs are. And maybe we do things sub-regionally, maybe we look at handling things differently. Um, so just to let you know, this project will be winding down in a few months. And the Vision 2030 report of the wind down is posted. So you're going to have all these links. You can take a look at it. I wanted to give you information on a couple of bills. Um, they're listed here. So AB 2206, a Fong bill allows for community colleges to offer CTE credentials if they are offering a BA. And community colleges, many of you probably know or are from colleges who do offer BAs, if they offer a BA in that CTE area. So take a look at that if that interests you. Then we've got 1904, which is an apprenticeship bill. It is designed to create an apprenticeship system in the education space, encourage credential and junior and senior level apprenticeships. So giving our students somewhere to transfer to, giving credential applicants an apprenticeship experience. Take a look at the language. We don't have a continuous pathway right now, so this is one step toward a continuous pathway. So take a look at that. And then the last piece of legislation I'd like you to look at is AB 2325. It's an Alvarez bill that supports the development of multilingual teachers. It would be a formation of higher ed institutions, including community college. We're called out. We are included. We need to be. And um, forming this consortium to really look at how to increase the number of multilingual and bilingual teachers in California because there's such a shortage area. So those are just some areas to take a look at. Um, as I said, I have an advisory committee. Thank you to those of you on the call who've agreed to be on it. We will be meeting through the summer and fall and coming up with recommendations around how to continue our work. Just want to mention we had two CAI awards this past round. Uh, we had millions of dollars in requests and only a few awards, only 5 are awarded in the Bay region. The requests outnumbered the funding. Um, John did tell me though that in the May revise, there's more money for CAI. So hopefully some of the some of the applications that weren't approved but that scored well could get reconsidered. We'll see, but congratulations to Solana College and Gonzales High School, who both have ECE or EDU pathways approved, CAI grant applications approved. The Chancellor's Office is continuing to advocate for more CAI funds as well as more RSI funds for non-traditional apprenticeships. There's also a new website. It's an education website out of the Chancellor's Office, and this is part of their phase 2 activities. So take a look at it. It's good that we have a spot there, and just, take a look at what it says. And, I'm sure we'll be invited to add things to it. Stay informed. We've got a few things coming up that are going to impact our sector. The top to SIP transition's a big one, and credit for prior learning are both going to impact our sector in the near future. So I'm going to hand this off to Justin. Justin, before we start the next slide, which is a launch slide, maybe you can talk a little bit about the Next Gen Policy public agency grants.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kathleen. And I know Alex Jones is on the call as well. And so, in partnership or in collaboration with Next Gen Policy, they're looking to really impact public sector opportunities in regards to apprenticeable occupations within education. And so, Next Gen Policy approached us in regards to supporting investments through employer incentive funding that is going to be available for our bridge committee. So, for those that may not know or aren't familiar, the Bridge Committee houses EDU and ECE occupations across the state. And it was born out of a sub-regional project from San Jose City College, Hartnell College, and Cabrillo College through a CAI. And that has since transcended into housing multiple sponsors and multiple colleges across the regional consortia. But specifically for that particular granting cycle for available funds, it is for BAC, colleges only. And what we're really trying to do, and it's open for usage, is about $24,000 dollars is available for employer partners to kickstart their apprenticeship journey with the colleges through DOL registration as well as DAS registration. Um, Alex, is there anything else that you would like to add in regards to the available funding?
Was also going to say, and then Blaine, we have Blaine, the statewide director here as well too. So Blaine, if I'm missing something, feel free to just share. But yes, I would also say there are within the BACCC there may be other programs that may be eligible for their own incentive funds, in addition to like maybe a program that's being a particular apprenticeship or occupation like pathway that's being supported by like launch. There may be some additional funding that's available for employers and LEAs as well too. As long as there's a public sector employer, you may be eligible for additional incentive funds. So what I'm going to do is I'll put our information in the box here, and feel free to reach out if you want to get additional information. Like I was saying, Justice and Launch have their buckets, but you may be eligible for additional funds as well. Blaine, am I missing? Is there anything else you want to?
And I'll just clarify because I know some of the people on this call um, are affiliated with public agencies. So we're talking about folks that might be putting apprenticeships in their community college preschools, their lab schools. Those are public entities, county offices of ed, high school districts.
And and community-based organizations that are providing a service for like a public sector, like entity county, are receiving public sector funds to provide that service. You may be
Okay.
eligible as well too. And we would just have to, have a conversation just to kind of check all the boxes.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. I think you covered everything. We're just really excited. Like Alex said, I think the only thing I'll add is I know we're talking to ECE and education folks, but we are exploring many occupations within the public sector. So you might have a colleague or someone that you're working with that's trying to kickstart a public sector public apprenticeship. It'd be more than interesting to help explore those opportunities and come alongside not only with ECE, but anything in an occupation in and around public sector. So thanks for having us today. And we're excited about the launch partnership and partnering with you all.
Great. Thank you. Of course, we want all that public sector money to come to our non-traditional apprenticeships in education and ECE, because we most certainly need help. And that will partner well with a goal that we have, which is to bring together some union reps to talk about apprenticeship in for teachers, for future teachers, for paraprofessionals, for teacher aides. And we're gathering a list together of our locals in the region. Um, and hopefully we'll have a panel of union reps. This would be a good thing to talk about, um, when we're all meeting. So thank you, Blaine. Good to see you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you all.
Sure. Okay, Justin, I'm going to give this to you. I've introduced the team. And I actually, let me just go through this because it's very quick. The role of launch in the foundation for the California community colleges. What does launch provide? How can launch assist any of you? And then apprenticeship. So hang on. Regional apprenticeship work. And Justin, take it away.
Thank you, Kathleen. Good to see all of you again. Some of you I may have not met before, but I'm Justin. I'm the Director of Higher Ed Partnerships, and my role here within Launch is to support the regional apprenticeship managers across the regional consortia. For this consortium, supporting Dr. Francisco Herrera as well as Jennifer Rowland. And so, who is Launch? You may have heard of Launch in past years. So, Launch is a program sponsor and intermediary that really focuses on leveraging the community colleges and creating what we deem as apprenticeship institutes across our organizations and across our system. Prior to going statewide in this effort, we were born out of a strong workforce project out of one of the regional consortiums, where we really thought about creating a regional hub of non-traditional apprenticeship programs for access. As we think about apprenticeship programs, historically, they're aligned to the building construction and fire trades housed under the California Apprenticeship Council. And as we know, the average apprentice, based off the database that you see, is somewhere between 30 and 35 years old. However, we're really trying to impact that positively, especially with demographics and those that may not have the same access points to those traditional trades into non-traditional programs outside of those sectors, which are housed under the IACA or Interagency on California Apprenticeship. Through that scale, we really became a best practice by collaborating with other sponsors and supporting our institutions. I would say 75 to 80% of our team come from the community college system to really drive that experience and lessons learned by being CAI awardees or HRTP, HRCC awardees, philanthropic awardees, and really sharing all those best practices with you. And we were able to do that at a statewide scale by transitioning to the Foundation for California Community Colleges, because the foundation's mission set is to serve and support the community colleges as well as their stakeholders, such as community-based organizations, our K through 12 partners, and our employer partners. And about a year ago, or closing in on a year ago, the Chancellor's Office really drove an investment in creating efficiencies through programmatic scale and collaboration. And so that really is our mission, to expand apprenticeship opportunities for any Californian that wants to access this approach through CTE and work-based learning, and to really drive impact towards our future and those that really want to seek this opportunity. Next slide, Kathleen. And so this is a little bit about who we are. So as you can see here, we just broke 50,000 educational partners across the state of California. That also includes K through 12 districts. But this is really showcasing our collaborative approach and creating system efficiencies across the state, being a statewide hub and provider. So when we think about strategy, we really want to think about processes that are the same from the San Diego Imperial Regional Consortium all the way to the Oregon border in the far north region. So what colleges experience, what employers experience, the documentation and community, the committee meetings that we have, they're all similar and aligned. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel, but really trying to systemize it to create an ecosystem. And so over that course, we have 34 plus occupations that are either DAS or DOL registered within the state of California. By being with the Foundation for California Community Colleges, we are really able to open access those standards to our community college system and K-12 partners for implementation. So it really is turnkey. It's about identifying the pillars in place to implement programs. So when we think about the local educational agency or the apprenticeship institute, we think about the employer, and then we also think about the apprentice, right? And on the class, on the job learning and classroom instruction. Through this effort, since our inception, over 2,360 apprentices registered with those stakeholders. And as we mentioned, the Chancellor's Office's investment. So I want to kind of dive into that a little bit more. And so through the foundation, prior to us being invested by the Chancellor's Office, we are providing, or without that investment, we are providing sponsorship for any community college and maybe if I'm wrong here, Natalie, but K-12 partner that really wants a turnkey apprenticeship across the occupations that we have. And so that is absolutely free. In regards to that, what that also means is we would be the administrator. We leverage what we have internally to to register apprentices within the California apprenticeship system. We drive the committee meetings, and we also lead all the state and federal regulatory and compliance requirements to be a sponsor. However, through the Chancellor's Office's investment, creating a regional hub approach across the regional consortia. So there are 8 regional consortiums across 73 districts within the state. And the Chancellor's Office has funded regional apprenticeship managers to be an additive capacity to the region. So both Jennifer and Francisco are onboarded for the Bay Area. As you can see, it's divided geographically with 28 colleges. So that's geographical differences. Those are occupational differences in terms of LMI, and to really scale that. And within that approach, to help identify plan development, model development, and how to collaborate with existing systems, sponsors in the space, and intermediaries, workforce boards, CBOs, to really drive opportunity. In regards to like what these things cost, right? So in regards to sponsorship, just alone, that is no cost to any community college and I believe K-12 within that space. Any program that we sponsor, we leverage other funds, and that is right somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000 at no cost to any community college specific for NK-12. And then through the Chancellor's Office's investment, so we are taking an tiered approach because we really had to think about where we want to start as a program sponsor leading this effort and an intermediary. And so we're working with the consortium with Regional Director John Dunn as well as Kathleen, identifying 2 regional sector priorities of your strategic plan that we really wanted to scale. And so in terms of program sponsorship and what we call accelerator services, so supporting CAI grants, supporting implementation, working with faculty for course mapping, the whole gambit, modalities, things that we've learned, how to leverage contract ed, not for credit education, how to convert, and how to be successful in terms of strategic enrollment management. We've identified 2 sectors working within the region, that is healthcare and education. And within those sectors, every occupation to include standards creation is embedded in that no cost to the region. So every occupation, generally speaking, we've mapped a cost analysis about $91,000 to $92,000 that the Chancellor's Office is investing for all of you within this particular region for any occupation under that priority sector that has been decided on. So with that, next slide, please, Kathleen. And so there are 2 frameworks that we really think about in regards to apprenticeship, right? We think about pre-apprenticeship and we think about DAS registered apprenticeship. Pre-apprenticeship is also DAS registered in this context. And so how do we leverage the 2? When we think, so I just got off a meeting with another college, and we were thinking about academic pathways, right? We think about steps. We don't want to just create an occupation, maybe that's it. We want to create opportunity and expansion, just like us as educators do. Like we have multiple degrees, we think about what is next in our particular pathway. And pre-apprenticeship is designed to be that stepping stone as well. So when we think about registered apprenticeship programs, it is kind of like go, 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 even though the proverbial green may be cited. And so we leverage pre-apprenticeship, especially with K-12s through CCI, as well as CAPE and non-credit options and CCAP, to really create a foundational knowledge in regards to pre-apprenticeship works. An example of that is a pre-apprenticeship program within ECE that's housed with Kenyatta College and then transitions to Skyline Colleges or is linked to Skyline College and ESEPs so that they have that continuous journey. And so these are some best practices in regards to how we frame that. So it's designed with employers to prepare individuals for that particular registered apprenticeship program, as well as wraparound support. We document that through a linkage agreement, and we really intend it to be exploratory and expansive to one's career, as well as provide the training and foundational knowledge to be successful when they enter that first period or entry point into a registered apprenticeship program. We really think about this on a regional scale with our local employers, because we validate employers' input with LMI that we receive from COE. And so we want to regionally strategize to increase that preparedness. So we want to make sure that the basic elements of what any particular occupation that we're making apprenticeable is there. And then through that intentional training, we want to create a priority consideration for apprentices, and we leave that priority consideration. It is left open to those that are implementing the program so that those can be filtered through to the next step. Next slide, please, Kathleen. And then we have registered apprentices. And so this is where we see a lot of the CAI work, the HRTP work, and philanthropic and strong workforce investments that we see across the state. And so the apprenticeship experience is we leverage pre-apprenticeship training if it's available to the student. That just helps with retention, persistence, academic success, especially within the equity lens of Vision 2030. We also need to collect right to work documents. So that is by and large one of the rules in regards to a DAS registered apprenticeship program. Also speaking that DAS apprentice must reside or attach themselves in terms of residency to the employer. Um, and then those are some other candidate preparedness elements. The apprentice begins the on-the-job training experience or compounded or simultaneous to related and supplemental instruction, where we do competency mapping with course outlines of record so that we ensure that student learning outcomes are aligned to the particular occupation. Again, theoretical and practical didactic learning in the classroom, vetted through demonstration in the workplace, and then completion of related goals, right? We don't want to take away, as we mentioned, academic pathways. So we also want to embed counseling, want to create abbreviated SEPs or student educational plans at the onset. And then as we know, around the 15 unit mark, or COAs or certificates, we start embedding comprehensive ed plans to showcase that the student has the opportunity and has the experience to go into the next levels. Because again, we do not want to create glass ceilings within entry level occupations. From the completion of both academic requirements, again, we're not measured anymore through the community college system by student contact, but rather the student-centered funding formula. So we want to ensure that they're getting their certificates simultaneous to the conference of JAS certifications. Next slide. And so I think, is this Jennifer's slide?
Yeah.
And with that, I will pass it off to our team.
Thanks, Justin. Justin's not going anywhere. Oh, I see a hand up. So why don't we go ahead and take that from Bill, and then we can jump back in.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Bill Bank with Los Medanos College. I'm curious, when you're serving as the sponsor and intermediary for these various apprenticeships and setting them up, you were referencing the credentials. Are you generally building those apprenticeship standards aligned to just completing the certificate of achievement within the major, or going all the way through to the associate's degree or the bachelor's degree level?
Thank you, Bill. That's a great question. And so when we build standards, we don't embed a lot of rigidity into our standards. So once you become a local educational agency partner, you're not going to see like periods, what we usually see within the trades, where they have to master certain things in modules aligned to a COA, to an associate's degree, things like that. The way when I first reviewed a standard by launch, it's almost like a COR, right? Where we have the elements, we have the shell, we have the learning outcomes, and then we really let the local educational agency, in this case, the community college, with the employer, identify what the educational need is. And so the college, we set the minimums, but the college can decide, do we want to create it and align it to a COA? Do we want to create it and align it to an ADT or an AST pathway? And that is all within the realm of possibility. I think what we kind of hold accountable to is the time frame in which the apprentice must complete the apprenticeship program. So for an example, the ratio, generally speaking, is 144 related and supplemental instructional hours for every 1 year of registered apprenticeship program. So if you have a 3-year program, you can work with your curriculum and your catalog rights, as well as your employer needs, to generate what you want in order to make both the employer happy, you happy, and the apprentice happy all at the same time.
So you're then developing a different apprenticeship standard for each school?
No. So they're competency based, and we list the competencies, and then from that point, the college can really massage their curriculum into the standards that are really universal in regards to the occupation. So the way that Natalie's team really builds standards is we build it in alignment with the community college system. So we have faculty, we have the dean, and we come up with kind of like a baseline. From that point, we validate it with industry, and we have a threshold of about like 25%, give or take. Not every single occupation will hold the same requirements. I'll give you an example of CHW. Some require like a teaching component, some occupations don't, right? However, it's up to the college to really course map what they have internally to utilize the standards. So they're really universal in nature for implementation.
I guess the key element that I'm trying to get to is the difference in standards that I've seen. There's the issue of, can a student get the tuition fee waiver and have a class be identified as part of their apprenticeship if they're taking an English class and a math class and a social justice class as part of their welding internship, right? Or they're
Yeah,
doing the nursing
yeah.
internship. When they have to take those general ed courses, do those count as part of the apprenticeship? Because if they're going to count, they have to be written into the apprenticeship standard, is my understanding. So that's why I'm asking, when you write the
Yeah,
apprenticeship standard, does it include gen ed, or
yeah,
is it only the classes that are specific to that major?
yeah. That's a great question, Bill. And so the answer to that is, as a sponsor, we have what we call a curriculum ID form, and so we don't dictate the classes, but whatever the classes must map to the competencies, right? From that point, so related, I kind of divide it into related and supplemental instruction. That's like the related instruction for the occupation, right? And then you can have supplemental instruction in alignment with your employer needs. So for example, I'll make something up. Uh, like
Justin,
Excel.
the child development permit requires general ed courses.
Yeah. So okay, yeah. So we're going to the steps sequences, but I'll do a general example for now, Kathleen. Is whatever we identify in the curriculum ID form that's a requirement for the industry. So if that's CTC requirements, we can list that. Now the question is, okay, anything outside of that? Well, let's use the proverbial basket weaving elective, right? Does an apprentice, if they're a auto mechanic apprentice or an ECE apprentice, can they take basket weaving as an elective, and is that covered by the apprenticeship designation? The short answer to that is no, if that course is not listed in the curriculum ID form that we have um, in partnership with you. Now, there's a difference here in regards to local decisions. So I'll reference Santiago Canyon College as well as Riverside City College. They have a local decision per AP and BP protocol, so that goes through BOT, vote, where they designate that all apprentices, regardless of code, right? So basic element data, special population, will have all their fees waived. As a sponsor, we can say when you go through FTE reporting or positive attendance audit, these are the courses that we designate as apprenticeship programs through your AP and BP protocol. You can designate that this is your waiving of fees, and you're utilizing a different fund under the CCFS. So you have those options built in, but as a sponsor, we only recognize the courses that you give into us locally. You can waive it according to AP and BP protocol.
And can we go to Jennifer now, and then we'll come back to this, because I think with our sector, there are lots of reasons why GE courses would count, but we can come back to this. So Jennifer, do you
Yeah.
want to finish your slide, and then
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Kathleen. And thank you, Justin and Bill, for the great question. So Justin has already alluded to this, but we want to make sure that it's clear sort of what Launch provides and how we support you and your efforts as the education partners in these programs. So As Justin mentioned, we have centralized program sponsorship and oversight of these programs. That includes the standards development that Justin has already mentioned, and we'll go into a little bit more later. And DOS and DAL registration of the apprentices is something that our programs team delivers. Employer engagement and coordination, that is both through our employer engagement staff, but also through our oversight of the committees for the apprenticeship programs. Funding guidance, so for state and federal and private funding options. We've talked about a few of the grants that are available here. So we have folks on our team that are experts in this space. And then technical assistance, data tracking and reporting. I know, especially in the data space, there's a lot of talk about doing accurate reporting and tracking of apprenticeships. So we'll touch on this again at the end of the presentation, but that's something that we can definitely assist with. Not the actual tracking, but helping to inform you about how that tracking should take place. Colleges and partners, what you provide is the RSI, the actual training. We want you to focus on that piece that you and only you can provide. The student onboarding and supportive services that you provide through your counseling and other on-campus supports. Employer relationships and local coordination. So you already have relationships through your infrastructure, and we want to honor that and make sure that those come to the forefront in these partnerships. And then faculty alignment and course sequencing. So that's what Justin was just talking about with the CID forum and how we work collaboratively to make sure that your courses are delivering against the competencies. Now, what makes launch different? This centralized administration and to reduce the burden for you, that's something that we take very seriously and what the Chancellor's Office is supporting us to deliver. The regional consortia alignment for scalability, that is the working with the BACCC and all of the different programs like Kathleen and her team delivering programs like this. Dual education model, so work plus classroom learning that is helping to balance the educational piece and the on-the-job training. And then full life cycle support for the design, from design to completion of these programs. Like we want to be there to make sure you not only go through the planning phase, but also get to the completion phase. And we're seeing apprentices out into the workforce, which is what we all want. Next slide, please. So when we talked about the all of the programs and the standards that we have approved, the slide that you see here lists our pre-apprenticeships and our apprenticeship programs and occupations that have already gone through the process or are in the process. Some of them have little asterisks, which you probably can't see, but we have dropped the presentation into the chat for you. This is the work that Natalie and her team have done and worked so hard to make sure that we shorten the process for you all to go from idea to implementation. So these are all available for use. And while I know we're focused on education today, if you have colleagues that would be interested in talking to us about some of these other sectors and other programs, please make sure that you share this information with them. Now we're going to dive deeper into education with Francisco and the next slide.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I have the pleasure of talking about a little bit about our Educational Apprenticeship Committee, also known as our Bridge Committee. Some of you may be already familiar with that. The Bridge is our education ECE, which was born here locally in the Bay region. Our founding schools are Cabrillo College, San Jose City College, and Hartnell. But now, as you may know, Bridge has expanded statewide. So now we're also working with other colleges such as, I believe, College of the Canyons, Riverside City College, and Norco College. And one of the other things we're also bringing into Bridge is pre-apprenticeship. So now we're working a lot now with our K-12 partners to build pre-apprenticeship coming under the umbrella of Bridge for these following occupations. And standards for teacher's aide, associate teacher, master teacher, school site supervisor. And through with our partnership with Hartnell, we've tried to expand those standards and occupations to even include preschool teacher and infant toddler teacher. And like I said, we're also working now with our local school districts to build pre-apprenticeships, which we can do through what we call a linkage agreement. So we can do those and bring them within the Bridge Committee. So that's something that's now we're seeing that's more growth in pre-apprenticeship. So that's something really exciting that we're doing. So that's something, and what our education committee, that's one of the benefits of launch is I think we're able to kind of help organize some of these committees. We help run them, we set the agenda, we bring the colleges together to really keep track on our apprentices and apprenticeship completion and helping with that administrative burden a lot with our under our education committee. So that's something that something we're really kind of value in. So we're always expanding and looking for more members as we're expanding our education committee. So yes. Oh, I see a question.
Hello, Melise Warner, Director Early Childhood Education at Santa Rosa. My question is around, I know these are aligned with the permit matrix, and with the permit matrix changing to the ECE1, ECE2, ECE3, will this, is there a way to shift it to meet that permit matrix change, or will it stay this way? This is just something that's been coming up in my own mind.
Ooh, I think I'll ask some of my colleagues to see if they can answer that question.
Uh,
So go ahead,
oh, I would
Kathleen.
just say, yes, they are going to have to be adjusted when the permit matrix, when it's all complete, all the changes. I know they're still having hearings, but these will have to be adjusted. But I don't see critical changes in the actual coursework. Um, and the licensing coursework hasn't changed. I mean, there's still some basic workforce coursework that's going to stay the same, but you're right. With the levels and the new changes, the committees are going to have to address that because employers are going to want clarification.
Yeah, and then one thing that we would work with you as a sponsor is so we deal with changes quite a bit because catalogs change, right? Catalog rights change. And so what we would work with you, for example, is okay, of the students that are in former catalog, if exists, do they stay in that same track? Do they need to be moved to the new rulings, things like that? But we are 100% flexible with the requirements.
Can I add one more question within the education part? I know it's very focused on our ECE, but with the EDUC and the elementary education degrees for transfer, does this one fit into that, or are we not to that? Or Kathleen, am I just
Bridge
asking too
does.
many questions? Okay, Bridge
Bridge
does.
fits in.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And yeah.
Great. Yeah, all great questions. Thank you. So yeah, I guess we can move to the next slide, unless there's any other questions we have regarding Bridge. Yeah, and I'd just like to, before we go, just talk about some upcoming events that we have at launch. One of the ones coming up is our Pre and Youth Apprenticeship 101 Info Hours. So if you're interested in learning more about pre-apprenticeship, how to get started, and how Launch can help support you, we're going to have 3 different info hour sessions. Coming up in May, June, and July. And we provide you here with the QR code and a link to register. You also have a copy of the presentation, I believe, in the chat, or we can also send that to you. And also, I want to promote our Bay Area Regional Data Convening, which we'll also be hosting. That's going to be an in-person and hybrid event. That's going to happen June 2nd. It'll be happening at the Chabot Las Positas Community College District offices. You can learn more through the QR code and the registration link, where we'll be really deep diving into how we're tracking our apprenticeship numbers through MIS reporting. So we want to just make sure that we're capturing all of our apprenticeship data through MIS. So we'll have best practices at that data convening. And then also one of the other things, I myself and Jennifer, along with John Dunn, Director of Apprenticeship for BACC, will also be doing some campus visits with all the 28 community colleges in the Bay Area, just to give more opportunity to learn more about not only your strong programs, but also how Launch can help with you in the development of apprenticeship programs. All
Thank
right.
you, Francisco. And I think we're going to move to questions after this. So I wanted to mention a few clarifying issues before we move to questions. I haven't seen too many questions in the chat. People have been raising their hand, which is great. But I do want to acknowledge who's in the room. So, Launch obviously is in the room, but we also have colleges in the room who are managing their own apprenticeship programs. We have quite a few who have who utilize, for instance, ESEPs as an intermediary. And we also have folks in the room from county offices of ed, from adult ed, who might be interested in um, getting help. So it's not, we have a lot of people in the room. They're all in this sector, and everyone's got kind of a varied need. I would just like to say that we're here to help everybody, no matter how you're managing your program, no matter who your intermediary is. I think there's something that Launch can do for you, and there's most certainly something that BACCC can do for you. And we do have kind of three major areas that are, I'd say, problematic in our sector. One is with data gathering that the chancellor's office has indicated that we're undercounting our apprentices statewide. And so anything we can do in our region to better count our apprentices and improve data would help everybody. The more apprentices we have in this sector, the better. So I don't want to, this is not competitive. This is not, we welcome all intermediaries and everyone who wants to do a pathway, employers, nonprofits, everyone who wants to do a pathway in this sector. We want to help students earn and learn. And that's really the bottom line. Future teachers and future child development workers. We want them to earn and learn. So we're here to help. And also, I would say when you get this PowerPoint, notice who to talk to because some of you are going to have very unique questions. Maybe you want to sign on with a link agreement right away to some standards that sound like they'll, help you. If you're a CAI grant recipient, a strong workforce fund recipient, if you're at, anywhere that's using community college coursework, this team is here to help you, no matter, what your situation is. So I know we've got some folks who are representing all of those elements, and there's probably room for help in all those areas, if that makes sense. So let me just see. I think questions. Oh, nope. Here's resources. So these are how you reach the people that are here. This is their email address
And Kathleen, just as a clarifying point, obviously, like Justin and Natalie are experts and extraordinary, but Francisco and I are dedicated to the Bay Area and the
right.
colleges. So please feel free to use us as your first point of contact at
Yes.
launch, and we will make sure that we get you the answers and the support that's available.
Absolutely. They're your local contacts. And Natalie, did you want to introduce yourself and say anything before we move into questions?
I mean, you all have done a fantastic job, but yeah, my name is Natalie Weaver. I'm the Programs and Partnerships Director here at Launch. And I work a lot on the development of our programs with DAS and DOL, as well as the coordination of the committees that Francisco was going over earlier. So a lot of support that I provide is meant to uplift the community colleges. So working with employers, community-based organizations, and K-12 partners. So yeah, just a little overview of me.
Great. Well, I appreciate you being here. So I want to introduce you because you most certainly have a big statewide presence. So thank you so much. And this is time for questions. So if you have specific questions, feel free to shout out. And if they're individual, you've got folks, I'm going to go back, I think. Well, you'll get up the PowerPoint. So we keep dropping the PowerPoint in. Talk to your local reps. But any specific questions?
Hi, Kathleen. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. My name is Iris Bradford, Associate Director of ECE Workforce Development with the Unity Council in Oakland. Long title. Thank you so much for this presentation. I was speaking with my colleague, Lisa Burton, who is with City of Oakland Head Start. And because we are in the same neighborhood, literally across the street or down the street from each other, we are always trying to work together, and trying to collaborate together. And so we're looking for an opportunity to, I guess, support potential apprentice in the Oakland area. Currently, I'm on my fourth cohort of what I call a teacher internship. It's not a registered apprenticeship, so I do not call it an apprenticeship, but we function as an apprenticeship. Recruiting Head Start parents, as well as community members, enrolling them in merit college classes, and providing internship, 50 days of internship training. Within a year, they earn 12 units, as well as they earn their associate teacher permit at the end. And so I'm trying to figure out how to bring that all together. Currently, our program has been funding it, but we need funding moving forward. I've just been told our program can no longer fund it as costs are increasing and budgets are decreasing. So we need help. Who do I talk to, Kathleen?
So I think Francisco and Jennifer can help you further. It's a
Okay,
very, you know, so obviously you're an employer,
correct.
and we do have some other employers on this Zoom, and we've got some other employers who are interested in um, how they can better utilize college courses, how they can better utilize funds, and how they can better utilize forming a team. So I think if you just reach out to both Francisco and Jennifer, they can meet with you one-on-one. And you've already got Merritt College on board. Berkeley, Peralta colleges have some
Yes,
lots of good pathways, and some good options. So I would say with your situation and any other employer on this call, reach out to Francisco and Jennifer. Um, as long as your partnership includes a community college course, or you have a CAI grant, or you're getting strong workforce funds, anything that has to do with the chancellor's office, they're here to help you. And
okay,
we also have some ESEPS programs on the call that might be interested in just helping their college with get better data. That's been a concern.
uh,
The data,
yeah,
the data dive with how are we counting our apprentices. So reach out to them, just explain your situation. In this sector, everyone's problem's unique, but it follows a trend. So
correct.
I would say reach
And
out.
thank you so much. And
Hmm.
contact information for both Francesco Herrera as well as Jennifer
Hmm.
Rowland. Where's that contact information,
Look in the
please?
chat. They've dropped the whole PowerPoint in there. And so
Great.
they're in
Awesome.
there. Yeah,
I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
sure. Any other questions? I know we have some adult ed folks on this call, or Zoom. Any adult ed questions, CAI grant recipient questions, college questions? Oh, Melise.
I'll always find a question to ask. Since you said adult ed, even though I'm not in the adult ed world, I will ask an adult ed question. We are hoping to look at pre-apprenticeship through adult ed and already have courses in line. And our adult ed program here is starting to work with our ESL, or we changed the name, but it's multilingual learners now, which I'm getting the new acronym in my brain. I'm just trying to understand kind of like the next steps, and that might just be meeting with launch to look at if we're going to be
Mhm.
working with them. We currently are our own, we have an apprenticeship. So my question is just really is, how
Yeah.
does it work for adult ed with launch, and can we
Mhm.
loop them in that way?
And I would answer for them. Yes, you're self-managing your apprenticeship. So again, I would reach out to both Francisco and Jennifer. And it's very possible that your pre-apprenticeship could go under another intermediary too. So launch could be your pre-apprenticeship while you manage your own. We do have colleges that have multiple intermediaries and manage their own pathway. So
So it can work as like an intermediate, like you're on one end that something comes in
yeah,
and then you have one part of it. For instance, like if we kept the associate teacher one way that it is and had an intern and an X for transitioning, that type of thing could all work with multiple intermediaries.
Yeah,
yes.
if I can add, yeah,
Okay.
the short answer is yes. Yeah, you can. We work with several different intermediaries to support our education partners to allow for that flexibility in terms of what you're looking for both pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship. So, yeah, I would recommend connecting with our team here and seeing like what your needs are, and we can help direct you on the next steps.
And the chancellor's office is funding this collaborative to help you all do a better job and integrate whatever you're doing better. So I just want to add, at the beginning I mentioned AB 1904, which is an apprenticeship bill, which in theory will allow for high school pre-apprenticeship, community college apprenticeship, all the way through credential, four-year college to credential, with another element of certification. That's a long way off, but look at the language in 1904, and I think we can have that vision of earn and learn throughout the whole teacher pathway at early childhood all the way to TK to 12. So that's kind of a dream. Might be a big, long
Well,
dream, but it's a dream. Any other?
I think we're at time, but I just wanted to finish by saying thank you so much, Kathleen, for your coordination and outreach and engagement. And thank you to everyone who's been here with us. And we look forward to continuing this conversation.
Thank you. And let's do one more download of the PowerPoint. Grab it. Everyone's email's there. Thank you, launch team. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And I think we should bombard John Dunn with the questions since he didn't sign on from his conference. So ask him first. He deserves it. And thank you all. Much appreciated.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.